नमस्कार दोस्तों, स्वागत है आप सभी लोगों का मेरे इस न्यू वीडियो में और आपके अपने यूट्यूब चैनल मजेदार रीडिंग में। क्या दोस्तों आप लोगों को रीडिंग करने में दिक्कत होती है? तो आपको दिक्कत को सॉल्व करेगा कौन? मैं। क्या आपको रीडिंग बोरिंग लगती है दोस्तों? तो उस बोरियत को और कम करेगा कौन? मैं। क्या आप लोगों को रीडिंग करने में बहुत सारा दिन लग जाता है? मतलब एक ही चैप्टर को आप 4-5 दिन में रीडिंग करते हैं, ऊपर से बोरियत फील होती है, तो उस 4-5 दिन को मैं एक दिन में तो उस 4-5 दिन को एक दिन में लाने का काम कौन करेगा? मैं। दोस्तों बिल्कुल निश्चिंत हो जाइए, एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग से परेशान है तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। मैं आपको एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग पूरी आपको करवाऊंगा और एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग की जिम्मेदारी आपकी मेरी, ठीक है। आपको बस क्या करना है, कान में डालना है ईयरफोन और आराम से सोफ़ा पे लेट जाना है, या फिर जहाँ पे भी आप बैठते हैं या लेटते हैं आराम से लेट जाइए, बेड पे लेट जाइए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। आराम से सुनिए और चैप्टर और मोबाइल को बस अपने आंखों के सामने रखिए दोस्त, ठीक है। चलिए तो दोस्तों आज हम लोग करने जा रहे हैं चैप्टर नंबर 4 क्लाइमेट, क्लास 9th की एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी की रीडिंग, ठीक है। और मैं पहले बता दूं दोस्तों, मैं केवल आपके लिए रीडिंग करता हूं और इस चैप्टर के क्वेश्चन आंसर मतलब इस चैप्टर के नोट्स वगैरह या मैंने लिखवाता, ठीक है। चलिए, ये आपको ये वाला चैप्टर मैं समझाता नहीं है, मैं केवल रीडिंग करता हूँ, याद रखिएगा इस बात को, ठीक है। चलिए, तो इसी वीडियो को जब आप 3-4 बार देखते हैं ना, एक बार पहली बार तो 1 की स्पीड पे, दूसरी बार 2 के मतलब सॉरी 2 नहीं 1.25, तीसरी बार 1.75, चौथी बार 2 के स्पीड पे जब देखते हैं तो आपको बहुत ही आसान पड़ेगा। एक ही दिन में नहीं देखने बोल रहा मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि आपने आज जैसे देखा उसके बाद आप 2 दिन बाद देखिए, 3 दिन बाद देखिए, फिर और एक बार 3 दिन बाद देखिए, फिर और एक बार ऐसे करके रिपीट करते रहिए, तो आपके दिमाग में बैठा रहेगा दोस्तों। चलिए दोस्तों, तो शुरू करते हैं बिना आपके वक्त का ज़ाया करें। In the last 2 chapters, you have read about the landforms and the drainage of our country. These are the of the three basic elements that learns about the natural environment of any area. In this chapter, you will learn about the third, that is atmospheric conditions that prevail over our country. Why do we wear woolens in December, or why it is hot and uncomfortable in the month of May, and why it rains in June, July? The answers to all these questions can be found out by studying about the climate of India. Climate refers to the sum total of weather conditions and variations over a large area for a long period of time, more than 30 years. Weather refers to the state of the atmosphere over an area at any point of time. The elements of weather and climate are the same, that is temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity and precipitation. You may have observed that the weather conditions fluctuate very often, even within a day, but there is some common pattern over a few weeks or months. That is, days are cool or hot, windy or calm, cloudy or bright, and wet or dry. On the basis of the generalized monthly atmospheric conditions, the year is divided into seasons such as winter, summer or rainy seasons. The world is divided into a number of climatic regions. Do you know what type of climate India has and why it is so? We will learn about it in this chapter. Do you know? ये do you know वाला बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है दोस्तों ज्योग्राफी में, याद रखिएगा भैया, ठीक है। हिस्ट्री में तो अलग से मार्क किया रहता है, जो कीवर्ड्स रहता है तो वहाँ दिखा देता है, ठीक है। तो ये ज्योग्राफी और कभी कभी सिविक्स में भी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, लेकिन सिविक्स में ज़्यादातर स्टोरी रहती है भाई, ठीक है। चलो, do you know the word monsoon is derived from the Arabic word mausim, which literally means season. Monsoon refers to the seasonal reversal in the wind direction during a year. The climate of India is described as the monsoon type. In Asia, this type is found mainly in south and southeast. Despite an overall unity in the general pattern, there are perceptible regional variations in climatic conditions within the country. Let us take 2 important elements, temperature and precipitation, and examine how they vary from place to place and season to season. In summer, the mercury occasionally touches 50 degrees in some parts of the Rajasthan desert, whereas it may be around 20 degrees Celsius in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. On a winter night, temperature at Dras in Jammu and Kashmir may be as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius. Tiruvananthapuram, on the other hand, may have a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. Do you know, in certain places there is a wide difference between day and night temperatures. In the Thar desert, The day temperature may rise to 50 degrees Celsius and drop down to near 15 degrees Celsius the same night. On the other hand, there is hardly any difference between there is hardly any difference in day and night temperatures in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands or in Kerala. Let us now look at precipitation. There are variations not only in the forms and types of precipitation but also in its amount and the seasonal distribution. While precipitation is mostly in the form of snowfall in the upper parts of the Himalayas, it rains over the rest of the country. The annual precipitation varies from over 400 centimeters in Meghalaya to less than 10 centimeters in Ladakh and western Rajasthan. Most parts of the country receive rainfall from June to September, but some parts like Tamil Nadu coast gets a large portion of its rain during October and November. In general, coastal areas experience less contrasts in temperature conditions. Seasonal contrasts are more in the interior of the country. There is decrease in rainfall generally from east to west in the northern plains. These variations have given rise to variety of lives of people in terms of the food they eat, the clothes they wear, and also the kind of houses they live in. फाइंड आउट में दोस्तों कुछ खोजने बोलता है तो बाद में देख लीजिए सब. Climatic controls. There are six major controls of the climate of any place. They are latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features. Due to the curvature of the earth, the amount of solar energy received varies according to latitude. As a result, the air temperature generally decreases from the equator towards the poles. As one goes from the surface of the earth to higher altitudes, the atmosphere becomes less dense and temperature decreases. The hills are therefore cooler during summers. The pressure and wind system of any area depend on the latitude and altitude of the place. Thus, it influences the temperature and rainfall pattern. The sea exerts a moderating influence on climate. As the distance from the sea increases, its moderating influence decreases, and the people experience extreme weather conditions. This condition is known as continentality, that is very hot during summers and very cold during winters. Ocean currents along with onshore winds affect the climate of the coastal areas. For example, any coastal area with warm or cold currents flowing past it will be warmed or cooled if the winds are onshore. Finally, relief too plays a major role in determining the climate of a place. High mountains act as barriers for cold or hot winds. They may also cause precipitation if they are high enough and lie in the path of rain-bearing winds. The leeward side of the mountains remains relatively dry. फैक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग इंडियाज क्लाइमेट. ये लीवर्ड साइड का मतलब पता है क्या है दोस्त? जैसे वेस्टर्न घाट है ना, वेस्टर्न घाट, तो वेस्टर्न घाट का लेफ्ट वाला साइड हो गया रेनी साइड, मतलब विंडवर्ड साइड, और राइट वाला साइड हो गया लीवर्ड साइड. ये वाला बोल रहा है. फैक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग द इंडियाज क्लाइमेट वेस्टर्न घाट्स के टर्म्स से बोल रहा हूँ, ठीक है? तो वेस्टर्न घाट्स के टर्म्स में वेस्ट वाला जो पार्ट हो गया, वेस्ट वाला जो साइड हो गया, वो हो गया विंडवर्ड पार्ट और रेनी पार्ट, और ये राइट वाला जो साइड होता है उसको बोलते हैं लीवर्ड साइड और रेन शेडो साइड, जिसको आप लोग आगे पढ़ेंगे अभी. ये ऐसा होता है ना माउंटेन से, ऐसा माउंटेन हो गया तो ये वेस्टर्न घाट्स का मान लो माउंटेन ऐसा है, तो ये वाला साइड जो लेफ्ट वाला हो गया, इधर क्या हो गया रेनी, क्या बोलते हैं रेनी साइड, क्योंकि माउंटेन से आके बादल टकराएंगे और यहीं पे बारिश करा देंगे और उस साइड नहीं जा पाएंगे, तो राइट साइड क्या हो गया लीवर्ड साइड, इसलिए रिलेटिवली ड्राई लिखा हुआ है. चलिए दोस्तों, फैक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग इंडियाज क्लाइमेट. लैटिट्यूड. The Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of the country from the Run of Kutch in the west to Mizoram in the east. Almost half of the country lying south of the Tropic of Cancer belongs to the tropical area. All the remaining area north of the tropic lies in the subtropics. Therefore, India's climate has characteristics of tropical as well as subtropical climates. Altitude. The India has mountains to the north, which have an average height of about 6,000 meters. India also has a vast coastal area where the maximum elevation is about 30 meters. The Himalayas prevent the cold winds from the Central Asia from entering the subcontinent. It is because of these mountains that this subcontinent experiences comparatively milder winters as compared to Central Asia. Pressure and winds. The climate and associated weather conditions in India are governed by the following atmospheric conditions: pressure and surface winds, upper air circulation, and western cyclonic disturbances and tropical cyclones. India lies in the region of northeasterly winds. These winds originate from the subtropical high pressure belt of the northern hemisphere. They blow south and get deflected to the right due to the Coriolis force and move on towards the equatorial low pressure area. Generally, these winds carry very little moisture as they originate and blow over land. Therefore, they bring little rain or little or no rain. Hence, India should have been an arid land, but it is not so. Let us see why. Coriolis force, an apparent force caused by the Earth's rotation. The Coriolis force is responsible for deflecting winds towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. This is also known as Ferrel's law. The pressure and wind system, ये Coriolis force और Ferrel's law सेम है दोस्त, याद रखना. Coriolis force को ही Ferrel's law भी बोला जाता है. The pressure and wind conditions over India are unique. During winter, there is a high pressure area of the north of the Himalayas. Cold, dry winds blow from this region to the low pressure areas over the oceans to the south. In summer, a low pressure area develops over interior Asia as well as over northwestern India. Over interior Asia and as well as over northwestern Asia. This causes a complete reversal of the direction of winds during the summer. Air moves from the high pressure area over the southern Indian Ocean in a southeasterly direction, crosses the equator and turns right towards the low pressure areas over the Indian subcontinent. These are known as the southwest monsoon winds. These winds blow over the warm oceans, gather moisture and bring widespread rainfall over the mainland of India. The upper air circulation in this region is dominated by a westerly flow. An important component of this flow is the jet stream. These jet streams are located approximately over 27 degree to 30 degree north latitude. Therefore, they are known as subtropical westerly jet stream. Over India, these jet streams blow south of the Himalayas all through the year, blow south of the Himalayas all through the year except in summer. The western cyclonic disturbances experienced in the north and northwestern parts of the country are brought in by this westerly of the country are brought in by this westerly flow. In summer, the tropical westerly jet stream moves north of the Himalayas with the apparent movement of the sun. An easterly jet stream called the subtropical easterly jet stream blows over peninsular India approximately over 14 degree north during the summer months. Western cyclonic disturbances. The western cyclonic disturbances are weather phenomena of the winter months brought in by the westerly flow of the Mediterranean region. They usually influence the weather of the north and northwestern regions of India. Tropical cyclones occur during the monsoon as well as in October-November and are part of easterly flow. These disturbances affect the coastal regions of the country. Have you read or heard about the disasters caused by them on Odisha and Andhra Pradesh? The Indian monsoon. The climate of India is strongly influenced by the monsoon winds. The sailors who came to India in historic times were one of the first to have noticed the phenomenon of the monsoon. They benefited from the reversal of the wind system as they came by sailing ships at the mercy of winds. The Arabs who had also come to India as traders named this seasonal reversal of the wind system monsoons. The Arabs who had also come to India as traders named this seasonal reversal of wind system as monsoon. ये देखिए अराइवल ऑफ मानसून दिखा रखा है यहाँ पे दोस्तों. जेट स्ट्रीम देख लेते हैं क्या है. These are narrow belt of high altitude above 12,000 meters westerly winds in the troposphere. Their speed varies from about 110 km per hour in summer to about 184 km per hour in winter. A number of separate jet streams have been identified. The most constant are the mid-latitude and subtropical jet stream. तो यहाँ दिखा रखा है एटमॉस्फेरिक कंडीशंस ओवर द इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट इन द मंथ ऑफ जनवरी. तो इसे देख सकते हैं दोस्तों, आप लोग दिखा सकते हैं एटमॉस्फेरिक कंडीशंस ओवर द, देख सकते हैं ये वाला एटमॉस्फेरिक कंडीशंस ओवर द इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट ओवर द मंथ ऑफ जून. जून के महीने में दिखा रखा है दोस्त. देखिए सीजनल रिवर्सल हो रहा है कि नहीं, इधर जा रहा है, ये देखो एरो देखिए इसका इधर है, इसका एरो देखिए सीजनल रिवर्सल हो रहा है कि नहीं, ये वाला इधर आ जा रहा है बीच में. The monsoons are experienced in the tropical area roughly between 20° north and 20° south. To understand the mechanism of the monsoons, the following facts are important. The differential heating and cooling of land and water creates low pressure on the landmass of India, while the seas around experience comparatively high pressure. The shift of the position of intertropical convergence zone in summer over the Ganga plains. This is the equatorial trough, normally positioned about 5° north of the equator. It is also known as the monsoon trough during the monsoon season. The presence of high pressure area east of Madagascar, approximately at 20° south over the Indian Ocean. The intensity and position of this high pressure area affects the Indian monsoon. The Tibetan plateau gets intensely heated during summer, which results in strong vertical air currents and the formation of low pressure over the plateau at about 9 km above the sea level. The movement of the westerly jet stream to the north of the Himalayas and the presence of the tropical easterly jet stream over the Indian peninsula during the summer. Intertropical convergence zone. The intertropical convergence zone ITCZ is a broad trough of low pressure in the equatorial latitudes. Broad trough of low pressure in equatorial latitudes. This is where the northeast and southeast trade winds converge. This convergence zone lies more or less parallel to the equator but moves north or south with the apparent movement of the sun. Apart from this, it has also been noticed that changes in the pressure conditions over the southern oceans also affect the monsoons. Normally, when the tropical eastern South Pacific Ocean experiences high pressure, the tropical eastern Indian Ocean experiences low pressure. But in certain areas, there is a reversal in the pressure conditions, and the Eastern Pacific has low pressure in comparison to the Eastern Indian Ocean. This periodic change in pressure conditions is known as the Southern Oscillation, or SO. The difference in pressure over Tahiti Pacific Ocean 18° south 118° south 149° west, and Darwin in North Australia the difference in pressure over Tahiti and Darwin in Northern Australia is computed to predict the intensity of monsoons. तो ये तहीती और डार्विन याद रखना भाई. तहीती पैसिफिक ओशन 18° साउथ 149° वेस्ट एंड डार्विन नॉर्दर्न ऑस्ट्रेलिया, ठीक है, 12° 30 साउथ 131° ईस्ट. इन्हीं को कंप्यूट किया जाता है मानसून का इंटेंसिटी फाइंड करने के लिए. इफ द प्रेशर डिफरेंस वेर नेगेटिव, इट वुड मीन बिलो एवरेज एंड लेट मानसून्स. अ फीचर connected with SO, Southern Oscillation, is the El Nino phenomenon, in which a warm current that flows past the Peruvian coast in place of cold Peruvian current every 2 to 5 years. The changes in pressure conditions are connected to the El Nino. Hence, the phenomenon is referred to as ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. El Nino. This is a name given to the periodic development of a warm ocean current along the coast of Peru. As a result, Peru as a temporary replacement of the cold Peruvian current. This is a name given to the periodic development of a warm ocean current along the coast of Peru as a temporary replacement of the cold Peruvian current. El Nino is a Spanish word meaning the child and refers to the baby Christ as this current starts flowing during Christmas. The presence of the El Nino leads to an increase in the surface temperatures and weakening of the trade winds in the region. The onset of the monsoon and withdrawal. The monsoon, unlike the trades, are not steady winds but are pulsating in nature, affected by different atmospheric conditions encountered by it on its way over the warm tropical seas. The duration of the monsoon is between 100 to 120 days from early June to mid September. Around the time of its arrival, the normal rainfall increases suddenly and continues constantly for several days. This is known as the burst of the monsoon and can be distinguished from the pre-monsoon showers. The monsoon arrives at the southern tip of the Indian peninsula generally by the first week of June. Subsequently, it proceeds into two: the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. The Arabian Sea branch reaches Mumbai about 10 days later on approximately the 10th of June. This is a fairly rapid advance. The Bay of Bengal branch also advances rapidly and arrives in Assam in the first week of June. The lofty mountains causes the monsoon winds to deflect towards the west over the Ganga plains. By mid-June, the Arabian Sea branch of the monsoon arrives over Saurashtra, Kutch and the central part of the country. The Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal branches of the monsoon merge over the northwestern part of the Ganga plains. Delhi generally receives the monsoon showers from Bay of Bengal branch by the end of the June. Tentative date is 29th of June. By the first week of July, Western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana and Eastern Rajasthan experience the monsoon. By mid-July, the monsoon reaches the Himachal Pradesh and the rest of the country. Withdrawal or the retreat of monsoon is a more gradual process. The withdrawal of the monsoon begins in northwestern states of India by early September. By mid-October, it withdraws completely from the northern half of the peninsula. The withdrawal from the southern half of the peninsula is fairly rapid. By early December, the monsoon has withdrawn from the rest of the country. The islands receive the very first monsoon showers progressively from south to north, from the last week of April to the first week of May. The withdrawal takes place progressively from south to north. The withdrawal takes place progressively from north to south from the first week of December to the first week of January. By this time, the rest of the country is already under the influence of the winter monsoon. ठीक है, तो आइलैंड जो होते हैं वो मानसून रिसीव करते हैं फ्रॉम साउथ टू नॉर्थ, और विड्रॉल जो होता है उसका वो होता है फ्रॉम नॉर्थ टू साउथ. ठीक है, याद रखिए, जैसे आता है ठीक उसके उल्टे तरीके से जाता है. ठीक है, साउथ टू नॉर्थ आता है और नॉर्थ टू साउथ जाता है, विड्रॉल होता है. The seasons. The monsoon type of climate is characterized by a distinct seasonal pattern. The weather conditions generally change from one season to the other. These changes are particularly noticeable in the interior parts of the country. The coastal areas do not experience much variation in temperature, though there is variation in rainfall pattern. How many seasons are experienced in your place? 4 main seasons can be identified in India: the cold weather season, the hot weather season, the advancing monsoon and the retreating monsoon, with some regional variations. The cold weather season, winter. The cold weather season begins from mid-November in northern India and stays till February. December and January are the coldest months in the northern part of India. The temperature decreases from south to north. The average temperature of Chennai on the eastern coast is between 24 degree to 25 degrees Celsius, while in the northern plains it ranges between 10 degree to 15 degree Celsius. Days are warm and nights are cold. Frost is common in the north, and the higher the slopes of the Himalayas experience snowfall. During this season, the northeast trade winds prevail over the country. They blow from land to sea, and hence for most part of the country it is a dry season. Some amount of rainfall occurs on the Tamil Nadu coast from these winds, as here they blow from sea to land. In the northern part of the country, a feeble high pressure region develops, with light winds moving outwards from this area. Influenced by the relief, these winds blow through the Ganga valley from the west and the northwest. The weather is normally marked by clear sky. Clear sky, low temperatures and low humidity and feeble variable winds. A characteristic feature of the cold weather season over the northern plains is the inflow of cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest. These low pressure systems originate over the Mediterranean Sea and Western Asia and move into India along with the westerly flow. They cause the much needed winter rains over the plains and snowfall in the mountains. Although the total amount of winter rainfall, locally known as Mahavat, is small, they are of immense importance for the cultivation of rabi crops. The peninsular region does not have a well defined cold season. There is hardly any noticeable seasonal change in the temperature pattern during winters due to the moderating influence of the sea. The hot weather season, summer, due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat belt shifts northward. As such, from March to May, it is hot weather season. As such, from March to May, it is hot weather season in India. तो ये क्या दिखा रखा है दोस्तों, ये आप लोग को दिखा रखा है एडवांसिंग मानसून, किस तरीके से मानसून एडवांस कर रहा है, ठीक है, आ रहा है किस तरीके से। तो यहाँ देखिए 1 जून, 5 जून, ये देखिए आपको 1 जून, 5 जून, 10 जून ऐसे करके, फिर 15 जून, 1 जुलाई ऐसे करके आता है, ठीक है, 15 जुलाई ऐसे, फिर 5 जून, 1 जून एंड 5 जून इधर से। तो ये एडवांसिंग मानसून है दोस्तों, इसको आप लोग देख लें। द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ द शिफ्टिंग of the heat belt can be seen clearly from the temperature recordings taken during March to May at different latitudes. In March, the highest temperature is about 38 degrees Celsius recorded on the Deccan Plateau. In April, temperatures in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh are around 42 degrees Celsius. In May, temperature of 45 degrees Celsius is common in the northwestern parts of the country. In peninsular India, temperatures remain lower due to the moderating influence of the oceans. The summer months experience rising temperature and falling air pressure in the northern part of the country. Towards the end of May, an elongated low pressure area develops in the region, extending from the Thar Desert in the northwest to Patna and Chota Nagpur Plateau in the east and southeast. Circulation of air begins to set in around this trough. A striking feature of the hot weather season is the loo. These are strong, gusty, hot, dry winds. Blowing during the day over the north and northwestern India. Sometimes they even continue until late in the evening. Direct exposure to these winds may even prove to be fatal. Dust storms are very common during the month of May in northern India. These storms bring temporary relief as they lower the temperature and may bring light rain and cool breeze. This is also the season for localized thunderstorms associated with violent winds, torrential downpours, often accompanied by hail. In West Bengal, these storms are known as the Kal Baisakhi. Towards the close of the summer season, pre-monsoon showers are common, especially in Kerala and Karnataka. They help in the early ripening of mangoes and are often referred to as mango showers. Advancing monsoon, the rainy season. By early June, the low pressure condition over the northern plains intensifies. It attracts the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. These southeast trade winds originate over the warm subtropical areas of the southern oceans. They cross the equator and blow in a southwesterly direction, entering the Indian peninsula as the southwest monsoon. As these winds blow over warm oceans, they bring abundant moisture to the subcontinent. These winds are strong and blow at an average velocity of 30 km per hour. With the exception of the extreme northwest, the monsoon winds cover the country in about a month. The inflow of the southwest monsoon into India brings about a total change in the weather. Early in the season, The windward side of the Western Ghats receives very heavy rainfall, more than 250 centimeter. The Deccan Plateau and parts of Madhya Pradesh also receive some amount of rain in spite of lying in the rain shadow area. The maximum rainfall of this season is received in the northeastern parts of the country. Mausoleum in the southern ranges of the Khasi Hills receives the highest average rainfall in the world. Rainfall in the Ganga Valley decreases from the east to west. Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat get scanty rainfall. Another phenomenon associated with the monsoon is its tendency to have breaks in rainfall. Thus, it has wet and dry spells. In other words, the monsoon rains take place only for a few days at a time. They are interspersed. They are interspersed with rainless intervals. These breaks in monsoon are related to the movement of the monsoon trough. For various reasons, the trough and its axis keep on moving northward or southward, which determines the spatial distribution of rainfall. When the axis of the monsoon trough lies over the plains, rainfall is good in these parts. On the other hand, whenever the axis shifts closer to the Himalayas, there are longer dry spells in the plains, and widespread rain occur in the mountainous catchment areas of the Himalayan rivers. These heavy rains bring in their wake devastating floods, causing damage to life and property in the plains. The frequency and intensity of the tropical depressions too determine the amount and duration of monsoon rains. These depressions form at the head of the Bay of Bengal and cross over to the mainland. The depressions follow the axis of the monsoon trough or low pressure. The axis of monsoon trough of low pressure. The depressions follow the axis of the monsoon trough of low pressure. The monsoon is known for its uncertainties. The alternation of dry and wet spells vary in intensity, frequency, and duration. While it causes heavy floods in one part, it may be responsible for droughts in the other. It is often irregular in its arrival and its retreat. Hence, it sometimes disturbs the farming schedule of millions of farmers all over the country. तो ये दिखा रखा है दोस्तों, रिट्रीटिंग मानसून दिखा रखा है. तो कैसे रिट्रीट करते हैं, 1 सितंबर, 15 सितंबर, 1 अक्टूबर, 15 अक्टूबर, 1 नवंबर, 15 नवंबर, 1 दिसंबर, 15 दिसंबर, इधर है ना, 1 दिसंबर, 15 दिसंबर, 1 दिसंबर, ये 15 दिसंबर. तो इस तरीके से मानसून रिट्रीट करता है दोस्तों, आप लोग देख सकते हैं दोस्त. ठीक है, चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Retreating or post monsoon, the transition season. During October-November, with the apparent movement of the sun towards the south, the monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains becomes weaker. This is gradually replaced by a high pressure system. The southwest monsoon winds weaken and start withdrawing gradually. By the beginning of October, the monsoon withdraws from the northern plains. The month of October-November form a period of transition from the hot rainy season to the dry winter season, from the hot rainy season to the dry winter conditions. The retreat of the monsoon is marked by clear skies and rise in temperature. While day temperatures are high, nights are cool and pleasant. The land is still moist. Owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity, the weather becomes rather oppressive during the day. This is commonly known as October heat. In the second half of October, the mercury begins to fall rapidly in North India. Do you know Mount Sindram, the wettest place on the earth, is also reputed for its stalagmite and stalactite caves. Mount Sindram इंडिया में है दोस्तों. आप लोग बताइए कमेंट्स में कहाँ पे है. ठीक है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के किसी स्टेट में है. इतना हिंट दे दिया मैंने आपको, बताइएगा. The low pressure conditions over northwestern India get transferred to the Bay of Bengal by early November. This shift is associated with the concurrence of cyclonic depressions which originate over the Andaman Sea. These cyclones generally cross the eastern coast of India generally cross the eastern coasts of India, cause heavy and widespread rain. These tropical cyclones are often very destructive. The thickly populated deltas of the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri are frequently struck by cyclones, which cause great damage to life and property. Sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coasts of Odisha, West Bengal, and Bangladesh. The bulk of the rainfall of the Coromandel coast is derived from depressions and cyclones. Distribution of rainfall. Parts of western coast and northeastern India receive over about 400 centimeters of rainfall annually. However, it is less than 60 centimeters in western Rajasthan and adjoining parts of Gujarat, Haryana, and Punjab. Rainfall is equally low in the interior of the Deccan Plateau and east of the Sahyadris. Why do these regions receive low rainfall? A third area of low precipitation is around Leh in Jammu and Kashmir. The rest of the country receives moderate rainfall. Snowfall is restricted to the Himalayan region. Owing to the nature of monsoons, the annual rainfall is highly variable from year to year. Variability is high in the regions of low rainfall such as parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and the leeward side of the Western Ghats. As such, देखा मैंने आपको बताया था ना, लीवर्ड साइड ऑफ वेस्टर्न घाट्स क्या होता है, उसका राइट वाला साइड, ठीक है। अब जब इंडिया का मैप देखते हैं सामने से, तो वेस्टर्न घाट जो बन रहा है ना, उसका लेफ्ट वाला साइड हो गया विंडवर्ड साइड और राइट वाला साइड हो गया लीवर्ड साइड, है ना। As such, while areas of high rainfall are liable to be affected by floods, areas of low rainfall are drought prone. Monsoon as a unifying bond. You have already known the way the Himalayas protect the subcontinent from extremely cold winds from Central Asia. This enables northern India to have uniformity. Enables northern India to have uniformly higher temperatures when compared to other areas on the same latitude. Similarly, the peninsular plateau, under the influence of the sea from three sides, has moderate temperatures. Despite such moderating influences, there are great variations in the temperature conditions. Nevertheless, the unifying influence of the monsoon on the Indian subcontinent is quite perceptible. The seasonal alteration of the wind systems and the associated weather conditions provide a rhythmic cycle of seasons. Even the uncertainties of rain and uneven distribution are very much typical of the monsoons. The Indian landscape, its animal and plant life, its entire agricultural calendar, and the life of the people, including their festivities, revolve around this phenomenon. Year after year, people of India from north to south and from east to west eagerly await the arrival of the monsoon. These monsoon winds bind the whole country by providing water to set the agricultural activities in motion. The river valleys which carry this water also unites as a single river valley unit. दोस्तों, इसी के साथ हमारा चैप्टर ये वाला कंप्लीट हो जाता है। रीडिंग करना इसी प्रकार से आप लोग अंत तक बने रहे दोस्तों, और आप लोग को मज़ा आता रहेगा। आप लोग की रीडिंग लगातार होती रहेंगी दोस्त, ठीक है। कहाँ गया ये सब? देखिए दोस्तों, ये दिखा रखा है सीजनल रेनफॉल जून टू सितंबर में कहाँ पे कितना रेनफॉल होता है सेंटीमीटर में दिखा रखा है, आप लोग देख सकते हैं दोस्तों, ठीक है। जानकारी के लिए अच्छा है। और ये क्या है? एनुअल रेनफॉल इन सेंटीमीटर यहाँ पे भी दिखा रखा है दोस्तों, देख लीजिए, है ना। चलो, ये हो गया। देखा मैंने आपको बताया था ना, विंडवर्ड साइड, देखो विंडवर्ड साइड जैसे वेस्टर्न घाट है तो उसके लेफ्ट साइड में देख रहे हो कितना डार्क हो रहा है, डार्क हो रखा है, मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा रेन होता है, बहुत ज़्यादा बारिश होती है। लेकिन उसके राइट में देखो, राइट में बहुत कम होती है ना, इसलिए बोलते हैं इसको राइट वाले साइड को लीवर्ड साइड। बीच में ये वाला लाइन जो है आप उसको वेस्टर्न घाट मान ले, ठीक है। तो इधर जो है कोस्टल प्लेन हो जाता है, वेस्टर्न कोस्टल प्लेन वगैरह वगैरह। चलो, ये हो गया। यहाँ पे क्या बोल रखा था? even the uncertainties of rain and uneven distribution are very much typical of the monsoons. अच्छा, तो ये सब ये भी मतलब मानसून की वजह से, मानसून के आर वेरी मच टिपिकल ऑफ द मानसून्स, तो मानसून इनके चेंज का भी कारण बनता है, ठीक है। रेन वगैरह के अनसर्टेनिटीज़ का और अनइवन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का कारण कौन बनता है? मानसून। हो गया दोस्तों। चलिए, आपका कितना मिनट में हो गया? 39 मिनट्स 40 सेकेंड्स। तो दोस्तों 39 मिनट्स में आप लोगों का ये पूरा चैप्टर कंप्लीट हो गया दोस्त। इसको अगर आप लोग फास्ट करके देखेंगे तो आप लोग को और जल्दी हो जाएगा, ठीक है। 1.5 1.25 जैसा आपका टेस्ट आ जाए, जिस स्पीड में आपको बढ़िया लगे आप उस स्पीड पे देखिए, ठीक है दोस्तों। अगर आपको मेरे वीडियोस पसंद आ रहे हैं तो आप लोग लाइक शेयर और सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें। मिलते हैं आपसे नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। थैंक यू एंड हैव अ नाइस डे। आगे बढ़ते रहें और ग्रोथ दिखाते रहें दोस्त।